That $10,000 you want to take out of your retirement account could cost you 40, 60, even $100,000 down the road. And I'm not talking hypothetically. We're going to do the math. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the immediate costs, hidden costs, and alternatives to pulling money out of your retirement account because we started that account for one particular job, and that is to take care of our older self. Now, let's start with the part that people may not understand until it's kind of too late. Those immediate costs, which are painful and unavoidable. So, you're going to have to pay income taxes depending on your tax bracket. Sticking with our example that we're going to be using, $10,000, you could be losing $2,200 right there. And then another 10% for early withdrawal penalty. So that could be another $1,000. So now our $10,000 minus 2,200 minus 1,000, we're at $6,800 and could still be subject to state taxes. Now, when it comes to making these type of withdrawals from your retirement account, there are some exceptions, but many people are not seeking out making these withdrawals for these reasons. And when it comes down to it, they may not qualify. Some of those exceptions include medical expenses, disability, first-time home purchase, a birth or adoption. And even if your reason does fall into the exception and penalties are avoided, the damage that I want to share is still made. Okay, so now let's go to the investment calculator, and I will have this in the description. This is where real wealth is going to be lost. Let's say you're 35 years old, you pull out $10,000 from your retirement account. If that money stayed invested and earned an average rate of return of 10% for 30 years until you are 65 years old, that $10,000 could gain $165,000 for an ending balance of about $175,000. So I want you to think about it like this long term, not that I took X amount out of my retirement account 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. Think about it like this, what it could have become if it had stayed invested for its intended purpose. The future you is losing money. Remember, it's not that easy to just catch up. There are annual contribution limits. And even between your 401k and IRA, for example, in higher limits after you're 50 years old, you may not ever be able to fully replace what you pulled out. You could permanently be reducing your account balance, the compounding power that you are on track to achieve. Let's make strides to not cheat our future selves. Now, I definitely know emergencies happen. The roof, the car broke down, medical expenses, the list can go on and on. But going to your retirement account, let's try to make that the last resort. I think for many, they think of it as the first place to go because it's the largest sum of money that they've ever built up. So, as we've already looked at in the example on the investment calculator, I want to give you strong encouragement to not touch your account. But there are other ways to go about it in order to avoid some of the taxes and penalties that we've touched on. A 401k loan, for example, which will allow you to be on track and committed to paying yourself back. But you could run into some issues if you want to leave the company, get laid off, high amounts due as far as the repayment plan. Not perfect, but something to think about that could be less destructive than just taking on all those penalties to make a withdrawal. Another option could be if you have an IRA, taking out your initial contributions, not the gains. But any withdrawal that you make is going to impact you because that's the end of your money being invested in compounding. So, what I'm doing personally to protect myself from being in these situations of having a need to want to look at my retirement account for anything other than its intended purpose is having emergency savings, making sure I'm keeping my credit in good standing so that I can work through those emergency situations that will come up. And I'm not saying that going about dealing with a huge hit to your credit card will be easy. But my goal is to not damage my retirement, my future. So let's not have our retirement account doing jobs it was never intended for. Let's not leave any gaps due to lack of planning. Let's make sure we have emergency funds. We're investing with intention. We have separate accounts for separate goals. Take some time to use the investment calculator so that you have a clear picture on what your money can grow to over time. Let's strive to protect our investments. So drop me some comments below. Let me know, have you ever taken money out of your retirement account? In retrospect, could you have done something differently? Are you someone who needed this message today before making a costly mistake? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not already, subscribe, like, hit that notification bell, check out my referral links, and tap that join button for channel membership. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.